Hello everybody, this is Bulldozer Investing. Today is February 22nd, 2021. It is 5:26 p.m. Before I begin the analysis, I'd like to remind everybody that if you would like to make requests for daily technical analysis, please go see our Twitter account. I'll show you how you can go ahead and fulfill a request. So if you go to my main page here, bulldozer_INVST, look for the daily pinned tweet. It'll say good morning. You can request a single ticker. So if you only request one, that I would appreciate. And then throughout the day, you can go ahead and reply and make requests on Twitter. So I don't take requests from the YouTube comments. Second thing is that we are almost at 1,000 subscribers. So please don't forget to subscribe and give us a like if you like the content. Before we begin, I'd like to also say that this is not a financial advising channel. None of our videos are financial advisement. It's only for technical analysis and educational purposes only. So let's go ahead and begin. Let's go ahead and start with VIX. And by the way, on the YouTube channel, if you go to the YouTube site itself, instead of watching us from Twitter or stock tweets, video snippet, if you go to youtube.com, it'll also have video description. Inside the video description, you'll have the time bookmarks. You can click back and forth to check the tickers that you're interested into. So VIX has finally been able to go over the downtrend channel that we drew. Again, it was kind of like first it tested the 50, and then it tested the 20. Now it tested the 100. Rejection off of the 100, and then a support at the 50-day moving average. Again, I don't see any bullish signs into this chart. I do see a head and shoulder. Let me go ahead and take a quick snapshot to tell you what I'm seeing, or show you what I'm seeing. Visualize it so you know what I mean. You see this big head and shoulder. Again, the neckline is probably around like 20 something. If we break down this exact level of $20 needs to hold. If we break down, then market will go up. I see that there's a heavy resistance right near the 100-day moving average and also at the cloud bottom. So I think it's going to settle down and eventually break down. We'll talk about what's going on in the market while we review the SPY and other ETFs. But before we do that, let's go ahead and do our chart on VIX. The hourly chart does look bullish, by the way. So in the short term, there's lots of volatility, as you probably noticed during the day. Heavy sell side during like the beginning of the day, and then like we get like pumps and everything, and then we end up closing not as bad as we started on the indexes. But I do see on the hourly chart there's a huge break above the cloud on VIX, and I can see us going towards 27 or just fill this gap right here. So this will be our goal for VIX. If VIX somewhere or another hits 28 and above a little bit, fill the gap, I think that's when the markets will eventually go to another run. So coming back to the daily, and let's fix this time axis. So we go back down to daily. I can kind of see VIX, trying maybe the gap right here and go towards the $28 area. I like the rounding bottom. I mean, not that I like the rounding bottom, but I do see the rounding bottom. And let me go ahead and draw that as well. So as you can see, the rounding bottom, and it broke down this trend line. So I could possibly see a push and maybe do a cup and handle. We don't know yet. That's within next 3-4 weeks, so we have to watch VIX for that. If that happens, then markets will probably see a bigger correction, or maybe if we see a huge spike like this candle right here, then that's good. But if it goes up slowly, that's not good for the markets. If we get like a huge spike and then just get beaten down, again, like I see the VIX support clearly at 20. So until we break that 20, the market will still be volatile. we have to watch VIX very carefully, but it did the first gap fill right here. Okay, so it had its first gap fill. The second one will be right here, which will complete a cup pattern. Okay, so definitely VIX to 28, and then maybe a pullback around this level right here is 23, and then we'll have to reevaluate. But I do see more upside for VIX, maybe like you know, I could see it go up to 28 plus. All right, let's go ahead and analyze SPY now. SPY has a definite pattern, as you can see with this line that we drew the other video. And I think, and remember what I said that it definitely needs to go to 385 and maybe 380. Remember, I was writing this in 380, definitely a reversal play, even a 385, as you can see this mid channel that I drew later today. And this comes up to be the 20-day moving average. Now, some people might call this, you know, inverse head and shoulder. Some people might say it's rounding top. So let's go ahead and, you know, we can't say it's a rounding top yet. In order for us, let me take a snapshot. I'm sorry, 1 second. In order for us to call this a rounding top, it has to bounce and get rejected again. If it breaks up and goes for this, then it's still gonna, you know, go into the uptrend. I do see an inverse head and shoulder here. And I think that where the bounce is going to be is maybe under the 20. So the 20-day moving average is right around 385. Maybe it'll hit like 384, 383, hit some, you know, stop losses, and then go up. Okay. Now again, these waves are normal, so people are freaking out because the market is like really high right now. But as you can see, we've been moving in waves, and then, you know, little pullbacks. This is a cloud top support. If it does come now, cloud top support as well, it's possible 376s. But for now, I think the bounce will be from 385 or this gap right here. You see this gap right here, which is around, you know, 382s. Okay. Let's go to QQQ. QQQ has broken down its 20-day. Remember last video we said that it's nice that it got a support off of the 20, but then a rejection at 9-day moving average. It clearly had a gap down today and a nasty closing. So we're at 322s. And then last time I don't, when was the last time we hit 100-day moving average or 50-day moving average? Somewhere in November 10th. So this November 10th pullback scared a lot of people. November was not a good month. I see that see the first cloud top line is right here at 319 and then 318. Remember I said we could revisit the 100-day moving average and also the bottom of this channel, which is totally fine. Again, if you zoom out and just look at things in the bigger picture, there has been some type of pattern here. I can see us going to 318 and then moving up. Okay. Again, I don't see, and let's look at the weekly, I don't see a rounding top to call the market top. On the weekly, one more interesting fact is that we closed right on the 9-day moving average on the weekly. Now, every time we did that since, you know, November, last time we revisited November on the weekly, we had a wick. So I don't know if we're going to pull up from there. We did lose 161.8, which I said is a critical support point. I did also say that we'll eventually hit 369. But before that, let's see if the 9-day moving average is going to be a huge support, or if we're going to go down to the 20-day moving average and hit the trend bottom, which is around 311.97, so 312. Okay. Next up is IWM. So let's see how Russell did. Russell is coming close. Now, it wasn't as bad, and it did pick up a little after hours. It doesn't look as bad as QQQ. I mean, QQQ doesn't look bad either. I'm just saying the pullback doesn't look as bad as QQQ because it's a definite line here. I think even if we touch 220, that's fine, and I've been saying that. Even if we touch 220, I think we're going to go to revisit the 243s. Now, this is the weekly. Let's go ahead and do daily. On the daily, 9-day has definitely been a resistance now. Let's see if we're going to go back down a 20-day moving average, which is going to be around 220. And I've been saying we might revisit 220. Russell doesn't as behave like Russell likes to go down underneath 20 and then come back. So if we could even go down to 217s, 218s, I wouldn't be surprised for that. Okay. Now it would be a huge it would be a huge factor if we revisit the last fib channel and the cloud top, which is around 208, and we have not actually seen it touch and bounce the 50-day on the daily for some time now. Last time it just broke down underneath, got a cloud top confirmation, and then moved up. So I don't know if we're gonna do the same thing, maybe go down underneath it and get a quick reaction off of it. But all this flag that we've been mentioning is broken down. Resistance is going to be at 225 levels. Okay. Next up is Apple. I've been mentioning that Apple, you have to be patient. Although I'm bullish on Apple, eventually it's going to hit 180s. I do see a head and shoulder, and the neck was broken down. We mentioned that from last video, and I said that if you're going to go into Apple, you have to accumulate slowly. The head and shoulder play right here. The neck is broken down. I could see us revisiting the 100-day moving average, which is sitting approximately at 125, and I said that that level would be accumulation spots right there, or maybe at the bottom of the cloud, and then look for the next leg up. It had great earnings. Your first point of resistance is going to be 138, which is again the previous highs right off the split, and that's just going to be what it is. I do see all the moving averages cross down to be bearish. MACD, stochastics, RSI not ready yet. RSI is almost at oversold territory. Last time I don't even recall last time we hit, what is the RSI right now, like 35s? Yeah, somewhere around here. So look for a bounce and then come back for a double top, a double bottom. So if we come back for a bounce, it'll be 135. Come back for a confirmation, maybe are at 128. So this would be my path. This would be my prediction. Of course, this is just totally guessing from previous behavior. So we pull back a little, come back up, revisit, do almost a double bottom, higher higher lows, and then go up. Okay. And then maybe flag and then go for the next leg up. Okay. So again, you have to be patient with the market. We've been spoiled and we've been thinking about, market always goes up every single day, 2-3%. That's not going to happen. I do see a lot of selling volume since ever after the earnings, which has been great. I'm not understanding why. Sector rotation, obviously, but the cloud bottom should be our major support around 122s, 121s, but I don't know if it's going to get back there because I do see a great support right here around 121. But our first look is 124 and then 121. After that, it's probably going to bounce as I drew the scenario just a few seconds ago. Next up is AMC. I usually don't chart AMC or GameStop, but that has been a request. So stochastics is ready. RSI is reviving. It's revving up a little. MACD is completely not ready yet, but I love the rounding bottom and the breakout. The 61.8 has been a very good support, this Fibonacci level. I'm going to zoom in to have you guys see it in a little bit. So that 547 area has been a great support. It broke off of its 9-day. I see it going towards 767. If everything is technical, the volume has been dying off. So I mean, and the rumors of I don't know how true it is, but Amazon buying off AMC Entertainment. I don't know if I read that, but I could see that huge gap fill. That would be a perfect play towards $11. Again, it's a complete spec play, but you guys know my criteria before getting into stocks. I love this decline of volume. So let me go ahead and do a recapture actually 1 second. I love this declining volume and the rounding bottom. And when you break off of this, descending formation or descending channel descending channel going down, you broke off everything with a very strong candle, a nice buying volume actually breaking off of its daily moving averages right there. Definitely it's going up to the 100% fib, which is around 750, 747, and then hopefully the gap fill for the bulls would be around that 161.8, which is sitting at 1123. Okay, so that's my prediction. Again, it's heavily speculated. You guys have known the drama of AMC and GameStop. However, I love the way the chart looks right now. A request came in for Bitcoin. Again, as I've mentioned so many times before, I'm not a Bitcoin guy and I don't usually chart Bitcoin, but on a request, you guys know any request comes in, I like to go ahead and take in the requests and try my best. So I did say it did go over a little bit of what I thought it would. You see this line that we drew, or the fib drew, 52,706. It it flagged and it went, and I think it had a retest on this channel again that I drew, or the extensions that I drew. Great support around this area of 47,500s, and where the 9-day moving averages sit, or the 21 EMA. I'm using EMA on this one for some reason. So the 21 EMA has been a good support. I don't see it breaking down 47,500 because I think that level is going to be pretty strong. Maybe if it comes down again and then you want to look for that curling bottom. Beautiful flag action here. I love this rounding bottom here as well. I just don't see it going down too much. Maybe worst case scenario 43,591, but very strong reaction today off of the bottom at 47,500. Where would I see the next upside is 67,500. I think it kind of got affected by the market action. But every time you see these strong support off of the bounces here, and then it just like it'll probably climb up and then have its, maybe couple weeks dragging its feet, maybe around 47,000, 45,000 area. So look for an opportunity from there. Um, it would be speculation if you play from here and try to get 67,000, but I'd rather much buy it at the lower regions here. As you can see how it behaved, these VIX right here. Look at the wicks. Bam, bam, support, support. But then again, it wasn't able to contain, and it, went down lower. So what I want to know is if we're gonna have like some type of downtrend, channel here, just bouncing off and going lower, 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 eventually finding a bottom around the fib line. It's going to be either 47,000 or 40. What is this line? 43,500. So 43,500 area, which is sitting at the 34 EMA support. Okay. So those two lines would be your target of accumulation. Okay. Again, I'm not a Bitcoin expert, so again, just purely technical here. Not checking on any news or anything, but that would be my prediction. Next up is DraftKings. So I like this stock actually, and there's some speculation about DraftKings and Fubo merging. That would be actually excellent for me because I'm a Fubo holder. So if they were to integrate live sports with DraftKings awesome, betting futures, that would be really cool for both the companies. Now, looking at the stochastics, MACD and RSI. So stochastics looks like it's turning around. MACD is not bearish or bullish yet. I mean, it is on the bullish side, of course, above the zero line. But I like the chart because I see the bounce off the fib lines and then actually a resistance on the other fib line. So I like the bounce from here, but I like this action right here. Okay, so there's a descending wedge. And even though the market was really bad, it managed to close above the 9-day moving average. And it basically got right off this yellow top box. I mean, the top of the box close by kind of got rejected. But the chart doesn't look as bad as other charts out there today, basically getting crushed. So if I draw the box accurately, it's actually right on the top of the yellow box. It could basically come down a bit, but the chart does look darn bullish. I wouldn't worry about it yet if you're a long-term holder. I don't do options, so I can't really emphasize, what you should do on the option side. I don't like to call on options there, especially in this environment, because they're just killing the premiums. Last thing you want to do is play options at this point. The market goes up and then down, up and then down, so it's gonna kill you if you if you're to play the option side, unless you're very active. I see the upside. So there's a couple of resistance here, right? First resistance is the top of the yellow box, which is around 63.29. The major resistance is sitting at 65 bucks, and my target is 68 to 70. So that's my ultimate target. Not ultimate as in like yearly target, but maybe a monthly swing or something. I love this bigger action. This consolidation picked up. I can do the weekly chart to see what's going on in the overall territory here. Um, the weekly chart looks tremendously bullish. The weekly chart looks like it's flagging. Okay, so I'm going to draw this chart for you guys on the here, 1 second. Very interesting chart on the monthly. You see this decreasing volume and that pullback, okay? So that's not to worry about. So if you look at things daily, it'll freak you out. But look at this. I mean, look at this rounding bottom, okay? And then look at this breakout, right? You see this inverse head and shoulder play right here, and the neckline, bam. I think it's just flagging to the next upside. If you hold this name for a long term, and if you just do this trend line, you're able to do a line, right? You see the up, down, up, down. This is the mid channel resistance right here. It's probably going to hit that mid channel. Worst case, worst if it's going to come down to the lower end of the channel and then move up. But the chart looks darn bullish. There should be no worries on this name. Again, I'll go ahead and draw the channel for you guys as well. If you just connect this high right here, and then right here. So worst case worst, you could come down to 55 again. I know it's frustrating, but then eventually it's going to move up to my target area is 70, but it could move up to 75. Okay, nice looking chart on the weekly. So nothing to worry about. Don't let, and a lot of people are worried these days, don't let the daily action worry you a bit. Just look at the weekly. Sometimes you just have to check the weekly chart, and it looks darn bullish to me. I love this chart. You can draw it more a couple different ways. You can connect this high, and then you can connect this low and this low. Let me go ahead and do that. So just to give you guys a visual, but I just did it on the weekly to show you guys. Why am I not able to? Give me a second, guys. Because I don't have the proper, yep. Okay, so let's do that. You can do this. It'll look more like a megaphone a little bit. Love this chart. I don't know how the pen chart looks. That's another, competitor. Or pen or pens. I'm not sure how you would. Either way, right? So there you go. So worst comes to worst, it'll get a cloud top support right around 53 and then move up, but it has a huge potential to the upside. And not all the states have gambling rights right now. I think 21 or something. So it has a future growth perspective, but I like the chart. So next up is GME again. First time in such a long time that I actually never have charted GME. Can't recall. And the chart is going to be distorted in daily. So let me go ahead and look at the hourly. Even the hourly just looks. It's a hard chart, guys. I mean, it's very hard, honestly, because of the huge price fluctuations. It's like a $400 now, $40. You're looking at a 10 bagger at this point if it goes to 400. So it's trying to break the cloud on the hourly. There's nothing I can say on this chart because like with AMC, it was more clear. On this chart is not as clear. I could tell you your support would be the 100-day moving average, which is around 33. The declining volume, MACD is not ready. Stochastics ready. RSI is still hanging at 47. So it's not really like oversold conditions, but this is a uncalled for event. So I mean, it's very hard. This chart, max upside right now in the near future will be 100, like maybe 104. But again, it's a tough one to call. I can't really do technicals on this chart right now. But if you'd ask me, I mean, would you go in just for the heck of it? Why not? But I wouldn't invest that much. Um, you just need to try your luck, but I don't see any technicals on this chart. Maybe like 4 hours. Like you just have to like play around with the hourly like candles or time frames. But again, a huge cloud right here. Like unless like it might need some time, but I don't see that technicality. Maybe honestly, like yeah, you guys are gonna be kind of maybe disappointed for not telling me not telling price targets for this one. It's because look at this. I mean, how can somebody chart this unless like you're gonna zoom in maybe 30-minute chart, like you know what I mean? Like on the 30 minutes, I can say $61. That'll be almost like 40%. But the issue is I never ever do 30 minutes unless I'm doing like a daily swing or something. So that's why I'm not going over 30 minutes. Even the hourly, I don't usually do that much unless it's a recent IPO. Yeah, the 4 hours, you can't really do anything right at this point. So sorry for the disappointment, but it's a very hard one to technically call anything. Next up is gold. So I'm just going to do GLD. Let me look at the futures. Let's do the GLD on GC, gold futures. Okay. So they requested gold, but I'm not sure like what they were looking for. So I'm just going to do gold futures because I'm darn accurate on these. And it looked like it bounced back off the fib again. There's a cloud top resistance. This is 4 hours. Let's look at the daily. As you can see, beautiful double bottom here. I see it retesting the 200 back again. Let's go ahead and do a fib or 2000. What did I say 200? Um, there you go. Yeah, the 161.8 is at 2000, nearly, you have a couple cents and so forth, a couple of dollars, which is worth nothing next to 2000. But your first resistance, your first target should be this range right here, which is sitting at 1859 to 1882. So this area right here, which coincides where the cloud top is, or the cloud line is. It did hit possibly its first resistance on here, which is 90 moving average. So you're going to look for this rounding bottom action. Let me go ahead and I would call this a double bottom. So any entry points around here would be very technical and it would make sense. Let me go ahead and take a snapshot and let's draw over the picture. So I love this action of double bottom, okay? And this is not a random line, this is a fib line, okay? And if you can break above this wedge, so it could come back, I don't know, but it looks like this double bottom and the fib line support is very strong, and last time it bounced from that fib line, it saw the 100% fib. So I mean that's where that wouldn't make sense. So that's 100% fib would be the top, but I don't know what this area is. Let me take a look. It did see 19,005 no 1957, sorry, not 19,000, 1957. So if it breaks out, we talked about 1850s, 1880s. That should be your first goal. Come back for a bounce, maybe get a support right at this cloud edge, and then go back up to 2000. Okay, this is going to be your big resistance. So let's go ahead and analyze it. So your biggest resistance is going to be 1960. So give or take 1957. That's what the fib says, right? I would aim to sell around 1859, 1882, that area, and let it pull back a little and then go for it again. Your ultimate goal should be 2000. Love the double bottom action. Okay, let's look at the weekly chart, and the weekly chart is on a big flag. Your weekly, again, if you can break this downtrend, which it tried to and pull back. So that would be actually, yeah, that would be right near on the 50%, which is 1850. So if you can break above that, then your next run will start. Okay. One issue you also have to take a look at is this right here. This trend line right here, it's broken down. But then the cloud bottom is so close on the weekly at 1762. That should be your accumulation point, and your sell point should be 1859s, 1880s. So that's my gold. This is gold futures. So that's my gold analysis. and my chart has always been right on the spot, and every time of its like bounces, like you see these support, you see the resistance, okay? Resistance, support, and then resistance, okay? So this Fibonacci that I did way back when is pretty accurate. It called even the top. Look at this. Way back I drew this. I don't know when I drew this fib extension, but even called the top, okay? So we could see all-time highs, but this downtrend line is very strong resistance, and also the 1850 levels, okay? Next up is INFI. Infinity Pharmaceuticals. Okay, so again, anytime when I hear a name pharmaceutical, I don't know what they're working on, so it's very hard for me to um, say anything, because whatever they're coming out with, and if it's groundbreaking, if they have the latest, drug out there, like, how BNGO with their machine and some like, Sense with their glucose measurements. So anything that's breakthrough and new in the market, it could explode. Let's just do this. Draw an extension from here. Okay, that's to the upside. So your resistance is going to be cloud top, which is 443 to 450 areas. Now to the downside, it could very well visit a $3 area, which is maybe near the cloud, like 319, 320. Um, because the moving day averages looks bearish, the MACD, stochastics, RSI all look bearish. Right now it looks, the technicals look bearish, but the issue here with the biotech stocks or pharmaceuticals is that they might be waiting on some news and the technicals will not work. So whenever I do these technicals on any pharmaceuticals, I always say, yes, there's technicals, but there's also news, and I don't want to misguide people. Let me see if this was the stock that I was given information on. Yeah, so the person had said, love the charting section last video. Thank you so much for that. If you ever have time, okay. So Infi, she didn't really explain what's going on with the company. I think it was OPGN, which I'll review later. That person did say something about it, so I don't have any info. But as for answering your question, Ramesa, about how would I decide if I wanted to do extension or um, just a regular retracement? If I can see an ABC, like in this case, right? So you see this, clear top and then a reversal, you want to do retracement on this one. Okay. I think this is what they call ABC, the Elliott wave theorists. So that's what you want to do, the extension, right? You can, on the retracement side, what I like to do, how I like to use retracement is that from here, so let's go ahead and do this. This is retracement. So from this bottom to this top, you can draw a retracement and you see how accurate it is, this resistance. Now the support should come around 347. Worst case scenario, I did the extension from this top, this bottom to this top. That coincided with the 50-day moving average. Now this one that we did a retracement with, you can do it all at the same time. None of them are wrong. You just have to see how it fits the price action. Okay. If you do that, then you'd look at somewhere around 347. So there's about 50-cent gap or 40-cent gap, which is huge for small price, small stocks that have small prices like $2-3 area. If you do this, let's see. Sometimes what I like to do is play around with the charts just to see like where the fib can work and play out. I think I like this. So if the price doesn't get supported here, I would say that, and there's an obvious triangle. Let me go ahead and draw that as well. There's an obvious triangle here. So if this fails, it does make sense that it would visit the 20-day, or it would be 50-day, I'm sorry, 50-day moving average or the cloud top. So you could see a fail like this. Usually when you see a descending triangle like this, lower highs, it usually breaks down. So this would be a bullish triangle, okay? Higher lows and then it breaks out. So in this case, this little formation here would be a bearish formation. Now, you could say that this is a possible cup and handle. I don't know. I don't know about that. It would be a tough one to call. So this could be another formation, but it would be a tough call to say this is a cup and this is a handle, like a long handle. I don't know. I wouldn't go for that. You could say even this as a triangle. Now this time, this could go either way. This could go either get a support at the 50-day or go out and try the all-time high. Depends how you look at it. I see the resistance right here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and look where that is. So the first resistance is going to be 436 and your support is going to be 306. So it's your choice, it's your call. I don't know what the story in this company is, and looking at it just technically without any information, all I can say is just the support and the next resistance areas. I'm sorry if I disappointed you, but again, whatever information I have, whatever the ingredients you have, that's what you're going to cook with, so that's what it is. Next up is Intel. Now Intel, I haven't really done Intel for some time. So let's go ahead and look at what's happening with Intel. I know the earnings, it went up huge because they released the earnings before the earnings. So they released the numbers before the earnings, so it went up like 8%. The next day it crashed down negative 8%, so there was a 16% difference. Now it went and revisited that area. What's happening with the markets is that they're going for the value stocks and then leaving the the growth stocks right now. I think the trend is going to turn around soon. I don't know what the heck that was about, but looking at Intel, the support is 660.13 and your target should be $69. What it basically did is fill this gap, right? We have to look at Intel in weekly because when you trade Intel, right, you don't want to trade it like daily. The options are cheap, by the way, so you can play options on these, maybe long dated calls, and it's not a very volatile stock as a lot of people think it might be, but eventually in the long run, if you purchase Intel and then just take a look at it in the year, or this is what is this, like 3 years? Let's do 5 years. So within the 5 years, this is a clear breakout, and I see it visiting $69. That's for one thing. The support area has been, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in a row is 45. I don't think it'll revisit that area, but this is what I think about Intel. You have to look at their numbers of how much Intel chips or how much they're making off of Apple computers, because Apple is going to have their own silicon. So they're not going to shop from Intel again, which they had their, I don't know if they used to work with AMD before, but they hadn't had Intel for some time, and then they, went with Intel. Now they're making their own chipsets, the M1s, the M2s, they're going to come out. So, it makes sense for Apple to do their own chipset, which will work flawlessly with their own operating system. So they do hardware and complete hardware and software together, which will make the system more flawless. In this case, Intel's market area will shrink down a little bit. So if you're a long-term holder, you have to think about that. But technically speaking, the support would come around 56.59, so 56.50, let's say, and then the resistance will come around 69.23. It's a slow stock, dividend stock. Look at this, the 3-year range right here. It's been sitting around, it's been, doing waves between 57 to 45. Yeah, it had its run around to 69, which is that, what I'm calling is if it goes, it'll probably retest the all-time highs. If this is the all-time highs, because I have the last 5 years, but I don't expect much from Intel besides having a retest of 5650 or going to run up to 6923. Next up is JMIA, so JMIA. That's what I call it, JMIA. I think that's what it is. Let's go to daily chart on this one. See, if I didn't check the internals, I think this is a very good opportunity. These levels that we've been given on the downside, right? It bounced right off the 61.88, 61.8 Fibonacci level, which is the 50.55. It's like an actual like perfection right here, right there, where I drew the box and the fib. So it bounced perfectly, but the issue comes with the internals, which they are bearish, and the externals, which are the moving day averages, are bearish. So I'm looking for another downside, maybe to 48.77, and see how it supports. And then your resistance is going to sit around 56.3. As I mentioned, just on the Intel's analysis, that there's some shift towards rotation towards the Dow sector, and most of all the value sectors. Like you have your airlines, mostly like airlines, cruises, banks. So that's where the money flew, and this stock is a growth stock, so obviously you saw some downside today because of the market rotation. It does make sense that this previous top and this 50% Fibonacci level, let me zoom in again. You see this top right there? It meets perfectly with the 50% Fibonacci. So that's why I said 48.77. You might think like, oh, this guy, he's calling it down. It's not because I want it to go down or anything, but just assuming that this, previous top and this 50% fib meets also with the 50-day moving average. So you have three different indicators and supports meeting at the current, at one price, then it's more likely a magnet to have it pulled down there. The long-term target, I'm not really so sure, because if it does meet up, it'll probably go to 65 back to where it was before. Assuming the fib, it'll probably go to $80. But it might drag you down, so you have to be patient. So you know how this went. You know how this went down from 48 all the way down to 33. It might drag you down, lose your patience, and then run up. So that's the thing. You can hold it till 80. I see long-term target 80, but in the short term, it could very well visit the 48.77 area. Okay. Next up is LAC. Lithium. Okay, so lithium, you might, and I'm not surprised that it went down 5%, because all the EV sector, all the clean energy, I don't know how clean lithium is, by the way, but all the clean energy stocks have went down. So what do you expect lithium to do? Go down with it. MACD stochastics RSI still needs time for reversal. I see the support at 1887, where this cloud bottom line is, and look how perfect the supports were previously. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a revisit to 1887. I like this rounding bottom, so let me go ahead and take a picture of it really quickly. Okay, you see this rounding bottom. Now if this supports, it'll be super bullish. If this downtrend is broken above, that'll be super bullish. You just have to watch. And these are the formations that I love. This rounding bottom, and you see an evident downtrend. So this would be some entry points here. So even if it touches the cloud bottom, that's fine. That would be a good accumulation point. You're looking at the next support at 50-day and 100-day moving averages, which are $17 and $14 area. But I don't know. I don't think it would go there. Like I mentioned before, I love the rounding bottom. I think it has a pretty good opportunity to maybe sink down to 1880, so high 18 areas, and then eventually move to its next level up. If you want me to draw an extension, this is what I would do. Get this bottom, get this top, and get this bottom right here. I think the all-time highs should be your goal back, or I don't know the all-time highs within the 1 year chart. wherever this year's high was. So it could do 28 and 30. And if it comes down to 18, that would be a very good target area because 18 to 30 would be very good, like nearly 85%. Okay. Next up is Netflix. Again, the tech went down. Obviously, Netflix went down, but not as much as Apple, so it's holding strong. It got a 50-day moving average support. I see a bounce from here, which was again at the support, this pennant line that we drew, perfectly met up with 50-day, and the pennant closed it right on the 61.8. So this is a normal area. I think a push up would be around 555, and I don't see much downside on Netflix. It hasn't acted much, so it's acting like Amazon, it's acting like Facebook, not Facebook. I'd say like this chart is pretty close to Amazon's chart. And honestly speaking, of the worst case in your scenario is 520, right? But I see more upside than the downside on this chart. So I would see an opportunity, and the opportunity is pretty much not given. It's like 1.9, 1.19%, 1.19% down, negative 1.19 is not really an opportunity, honestly. I mean, if this stock comes down to 500, that would be an opportunity, but I don't know if it will, unless the whole entire, QQQ sells off again. But even with that sell-off, you see a very little drop. $30 drop is nothing to Netflix. I mean, what, 2-3% compared to Apple dropping from 145 to all the way down to 126, which is more of a discount to me than Netflix. So if I were to choose between Netflix and Apple, looking at the discount, Apple would be more of a discount. Now you're going to discuss like, oh, the future growth, blah, blah, blah. I'm not looking at that. Like I'm not looking at the fundamentals of the companies, just looking at the discounts that I've been given since the last 2 months or so. Okay. But again, it acted pretty strong, so it's pretty good. And the 50-day moving average bounce was pretty good, but you don't want to lose that area, which is 531. If you lose 531, you're going to go to 520. Okay. So next up is NNDM, and we've been covering NNDM for a couple videos in a row, and it's behaving like what I said. The internals look nasty, the chart looks bearish, and I've read some comments about it offered, but it had so many offers. It's just you have to follow the trend. I would love it to go back within this pitchfork, and I did say that it should when we were up here. I said that I see 12s, right? 1260s, 1270s, and it did come there. So now this would be a good reversal play. Although everything looks bearish, I mean, you're going to try your luck and you can hit $18 range, but can it drop more? Yeah, it could drop down to 50-day moving average, which is around 1128. So it's your give or take, you have to take the chance. But again, it's not just NNDM falling, right? A lot of the high flyers, a lot of the Russell, stocks that went up huge, they came down huge. So 10%, minus 10%. A lot of people might have not agreed with me last time when we were at 14 and I said I see 1260s. I was dead on because I'm not emotionally tied to any stock. And if I am, I'll tell you, right? But even that, I don't let my emotions, get in the way of me telling you what's going to happen or what I think will happen. That's what it is. I don't know what's going to happen. I just think what's going to happen looking at some of the indicators. I don't like that it lost 1293. I don't like the way that it lost this channel and it could revisit 1129. But this is what I think short term with this stock. It is beaten down so much. It dropped from 18 some dollars or nearly $18, like 17s, high 17s to 12. Not 12 even, but 1245. So that's a huge drop, like 17, let's say 1780 minus 1245, and then you divide that by 1780 back again. So that's about 30% drop in what? 10 days? So obviously you're going to see some bounces. Now, the bounce that you could see possibly would go to 1480. The downside would be 1125. So that's your risk factor. I can't really tell you where it's going to go because I don't know when the market will decide to shift back to growth stocks and the high flyers, the the penny stocks. I mean, I don't know if this would be considered as a penny stock. I don't think so, but you know the category. You know what I mean. So that's what it is. It's just the technicals are telling me support is 1125, resistance at 1480, but then all sector rotation. It all matters on sector rotation. The chart doesn't look as bullish as it used to. As I've been telling you here, chart looks bullish, chart looks bullish. It's going to go to 18. It's going to go here. It's going to go there. And I was dead on right. I didn't know that it was going to go all the way up here. I thought it was going to go here. It just broke up anyways. But then again, I love to play the bottom of the channel. If this would be a good entry point to start a position and maybe average cost average around 1132. Okay. Next up is NNOX. NNOX image. Pretty much this has been more beaten down. Maybe the percentage wise it's the same. Kind of looks like NNDM chart that we just reviewed. It got a cloud bounce. It did get a bounce off the cloud, so I think this would be a good entry point. But then the worst is that the moving averages are not looking bullish. So even if it bounces off the cloud, it could revisit 63, but I can't guess after that. Okay. I can't guess what's going to happen after that. You can do a Fibonacci retracement of how far it could possibly drop. Now, I don't want to, I don't like to believe this, but it's telling me $39. I don't know. The earnings are coming up, so you want to take a precaution, but I love to play reversals off of the cloud. But the issue is that the moving average is way above the price. So that's the issue. I like to play the cloud bounce when the price is above the moving day averages and it's curling towards bullish. But now the averages are above the price and it's doing a bearish crossover. So that's the only issue. These will have like violent ups and then slowly melt down. And that up action will be around 63. Okay. Next up is OPGN. Now OPGN, whoever requested it, they also gave me an information about it, which really helps me when I consider doing technicals. Awaiting FDA approval on this generic viral bacterial testing platform. Now, if this bacterial testing has anything to do with coronavirus, I don't know, but it did break down. I guess we've reviewed this. It did break down this, and every time I tell you when I do a trend line, I say watch out if it breaks down. So support would come around 267, which is the 20-day moving average. Your downtrend line is here. I don't see a curling bottom yet, so I can't really say that it's ready. What happens with these types of stocks, from what I'm hearing from people, is that they like to move up pre-release of the FDA results and then get sold off a little bit, but then depending on the news, it could go huge. To me, this is a 50-50 play. Technicals don't matter as much anymore because of the FDA approval waiting. Now, I don't know when the scheduled FDA release is on the approval, but if you were to ask me here, if you were to ask me this curling bottom, I would have said it's bullish technically. At this point, I do see a major downtrend, and it looks like it wants to test 267. Any news release, it could go back up to 428 very easily, but then again, that would be 50-50 chance on the FDA approval. Okay, so that would be my review on. OZON is next, and I believe this is like the Russian Amazon. It looks bullish. Good breakout, first of all. You see this breakout? It closed above the 9-day moving average. I love this curling bottom. So this is what I mean when you guys, when I explain what a curling bottom is. Let me go ahead and change this up a little bit. Okay, so this is what I mean exactly when I say curling bottom. You see this curling bottom and you see this downtrend. When you break, this is the point to go in when you're above the moving day averages. Now this stock tends to flag down. You see these channels. So what I like to do is measure the distance or the percentages every time it does that. So this is another one. So from here to here, here to here, the next move up is again going to be whatever this percentage was or whatever this percentage was. That's how you would calculate the next move up, or you can simply do an extension and try to guess the the upside. So upside I see is 72 and then 88. So whatever this one was, 45 to 60, 68, that's nearly 40%, 50%. So 63 to 88 would be your next move up. But then again, I don't know what the market is going to do with all this sector rotation, and it's like, is it selling off or is it not? So it's iffy, but I love the chart. It looks bullish. There's nothing wrong with it. You can go ahead. I think in the long term it'll be $88. Next up is Palantir. I love the stock, and this was my sweet baby when when it was right here, and we guessed it right. I said it would be 42, and it went above my price target. So now, how am I feeling about the stock now? I would say don't rush in until the MACD stochastics and RSI is ready. On top of that, the Cathy news did have it pick up, but look at this. 61.8, 30.28, we were darn close. I'm not going to dig this until we found a rounding bottom. We do achieve a rounding bottom like this. Okay. Now we haven't done that. It was a quick V recovery, but then again, we closed under the 20-day moving average, which is 28. We closed at 28. Moving average is around 28.87. I think it's going to retest, maybe fill this gap right here around 26, and then we'll reevaluate. But then again, if you were to play this channel, I think it could easily revisit 24 and then move back up to 33. I just dig the rounding bottoms. I don't think it's rested well. I think it needs more time. Now you're going to say, do you know better than Cathy? She bought 5 million shares. Well, of course I don't know better than Cathy, but then when Cathy invests, she looks for 5 years, right? Her first buying point was around 25, 26 anyways. All she did was she just basically doubled her shares around the same cost average. It's not like she averaged down. She just collected more from where she originally bought them from. I don't know what her price was, like 25, 26, right? So obviously, we don't know what her intentions are, but that's a huge buy. But her intention isn't that Palantir is going to go move 25% up the next day. Her intention is for 3-5 years. So I would say that you're going to have to follow the cloud top and maybe the cloud bottom. We'll look for that, okay? Next up is QDEL. So let's take a look at QDEL. I don't know if I did this before. Yeah, I mean I don't know if this drop has anything to do with the earnings. It seems like they had great earnings. I don't know what the drop was about. MACD stochastics, RSI, all bearish. RSI had oversold, broke down below the cloud. The chart at this point is bearish, obviously. Now where it could bounce, I can try to do it, but let's take a look. I mean, it's really hard to pick a point to get the downtrend because it even broke down this line right here. I mean, worst case worst, you're gonna visit 143, but I don't know what's up with it. Maybe some news, I don't know what it is, that got this stock beaten down that much. Let's take a look at the weekly just to try to understand. On the weekly 100-day moving average, 132 makes sense. I just don't see why it was beaten down that much from 231 to 163. Now, if you're asking me to buy the dip, I don't know how far it could go because I don't know what the news was that took this down. All I can tell you is that this price right here will be a good support. So 150 it should hold. If it doesn't hold 150, it could revisit the 100-day moving average on the weekly, which is 131.92. I'm sorry for what's happened on the stock. It's just that it's very hard to, and I've been saying this on my channel so many times. I don't like to catch a falling knife. I mean, don't misunderstand me that this is a falling knife or anything, but it's just that I like to see a formation of a bottom until I get in. If you ask me where it could drop is 150, and it should hold. If it doesn't, it could go to what was it, 131 I said on the weekly 100-day moving average. Okay. Next up is VERU, VERU. I remember I put a signal on this stock at $15. Look where it bounced. It bounced perfectly off of the fib, and it went right below where I thought it would. Of course, I couldn't get in because I had FUBO on my trading account. Right now, because of FUBO, so this I like to also say this. So the last 4 months, the third month of the trading account, we were up 120%. Now we are down. We're down. We lost all our profit of 120%, and I think we are down $2,000 from where we had originally started. So this drop the last 2 weeks, and with the FUBO I got with the margin, it basically killed all my profits. But again, I told you it's a high risk, journey account, so I wasn't expecting it to, never go down. It's either going to be hitting up 100% or it's going to go down hard. So it'll all depend. We'll see how it goes, but just to remind you of my journey, it ended up being pretty bad, taking so much risks. We were doing so good before taking risks, but that's the story. But coming back to VERU, it could climb up all the way to $18 or $19 area. Um, I don't. I like the bounce off of the fib, but I don't see a clear direction until we get over this trend line right here. So you need to break above 19 for the next leg up, or else it could easily retest the $15 area, or it could retest the $18 area, which I've said. So you're in the middle. You're basically in the middle. There's not much of an update on that case. Let's go ahead and maybe redraw an extension, if that will help you out. So your move is right here. So this should be your target. Okay. 22 to 24. Again, it could revisit even the 20-day moving average. Wouldn't be surprising to me, but it's hard to call anything on this one yet because it still looks like it has to break above this strong channel. It needs to form a downtrend. So a rounding bottom. So if it forms this, bounces off the 20, come back, and then you want to buy it right here. Okay. So I wouldn't get in this yet. That's why I kind of didn't get in here. I mean, the bounce would have been perfect play for a swing play, but for a long-term setup, I think it needs to discover a bottom, and it hasn't yet. Okay. So that's it. There's all the stocks that we reviewed today. We went over an hour. I try to do like all the analysis very detailed so you guys can get an idea. And markets are obviously not looking good. Let's go ahead and take one last look at the futures and see where things are moving. Positive on the future side, but again, my FUBO doesn't look good. I don't know what the heck that breakdown was after hours. It went to like 38.50. Okay, so now it looks like it wants to recover a bit, but really killed my entire account. I mean, again, I am not absolutely negative. I think it could revisit 38. I said that it could, and I did. If you go back to my FUBO analysis, we were up here at the 50s or the 49s. I said it could visit 42, worst case scenario 38, right? What did it do after hours? Okay, let's take a look at after hours. What was this about? 36.7. What the hell was that? Does it have a lot of volume? I didn't even see it. This probably must have happened when I was reviewing. It could have been a light volume thing. I mean, like it's a very light volume. I don't know what the hell that was about. 36.70. Wow. I mean, I wish I didn't record the video. I would have bought with the transferred money and bought something. Wow. What the hell was that about? Guys, at this point, I see a huge upside on FUBO. If this had happened, So it basically went 36.50. Where the hell was that? Wow. So guys, honestly, if we can hold 38s, I think it's going to be a huge reversal. Now, again, the earnings coming up, if something goes down before the earnings, is a positive sign for me. Um, and I believe that the earnings, worst case, we're gonna hit 51. And my upside to this, I've been telling you, first level is 76 and way more. You have to look at this like it's the next Roku, and I think it will be. As you probably remember how Roku went from like down, up, down, crashed on the coronavirus, crashed down to 57, and then look at it now, right? Roku climbed up to 75, went to 26, went up, down, up, down. So you have to hold this long term. But I was pretty darn surprised that it revisited 36.50. Holy gosh, I would have, if I wish I didn't record the video for you guys, I would have bought it down there. I think this is the beginning of reversal for Fubo. And the markets are going to reverse, and they're probably going to go back to all these beaten down stocks, FLDM. Look at Novavax. Wow. And Moderna, all the flu shots. PACB, holy, like you guys should dig these, right? Instead of asking me, penny stocks and everything, these are cool stocks that, ARK was beaten down. Look at ARK. I mean, come on. You're asking me all these names. You guys should ask me the ARKs. You guys should ask me the edit PACP. You guys should, NNDM was asked. But you guys should have asked me SunPower. Now I don't have enough time to go over all of them. OLED is a very good company. I mean, 7%, Trade Desk at 6%. These are all discounts, guys. You guys should ask me the discounted ones. NEO at 7, almost 8. Blink, nobody asked me Blink. Come on, guys. Uber, these are all gifts. I haven't had any strong names today. No offense. But holy crap, FNGU 8%. Oh my God, nobody asked me all these names. I was so busy at work, I couldn't even look at what the heck was happening on the market. I couldn't even look at my account balance. That's how busy I was. Oh my God. So lots of discounts. Take an advantage of it. Between 10%, Bridgewater, it's a spec. BNGO, that's a given discount. Holy crap. So you guys should watch out. Clean CLSK 17%. You guys should take advantages of this. So out of all these names, I've gotten the charts that I reviewed, I didn't see much discount. Okay. So having said that, look at the discounts, look at the overall markets. I think that PACP edit, the ARCs are going to explode. That's a given. Now I'm not going to record all of this. I'm not going to tag the timestamps, but look at ARC. So nobody came up, and I guess I didn't teach you guys anything. On the weekly, ARC just revisited 20-day moving average. It's going to be a strong bounce. ARC is going to go to ARK is going to go to 180. Nobody had mentioned me RK. In fact, I think I should have RK on my account, which I didn't. So even it could bounce towards, it could come down towards 139. That's a given gift. It would be a double bottom and an explosion to 180. You guys should take, more names into consideration. Expand your portfolio, okay? That being said, I'm going to end today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.